Stranger than fanfiction. Not a bad episode if you ask me. A shame I don't have time to review it though. Oh well. Maybe I'll just watch a review or two from Dr. Please tell me I'm not back in prison.
No, just a Dare and Do convention.
Thanks, Celestia.
Why would you be in prison anyway?
No reason. No reason at all. Absolutely no reason. Wait, why did you bring me to a Dare and Do convention, Anime?
Oh, so we can review the latest episode? What do you say?
Well, I originally planned to do episode reviews of Season 6 after the season was over, but after getting a glimpse of what lies ahead for the rest of the season, maybe I should get back to doing episode reviews.
Glad to hear it. So, should we get started?
Sure, why not? My concussion can wait.
You know that every pony in this world still needs you. Daring to don't back down or let evil defeat you.
Stranger Than Fanfiction opens up with Rainbow Dash getting ready to attend a Daring Do convention, while Twilight is forced to stay behind and attend a summit taking place in Griffinstone. I wonder if that's gonna hold any significance later on down the road. Guess we'll just have to wait and see. Now, giving credit to where credit is due, the animators did a really good job capturing both the design and atmosphere of a typical My Little Pony convention in some of these first few scenes, though I'm a little confused as to why there's a food court and a table selling cooking pans in the vendor hall.
While admiring the Daring Do decor, Rainbow Dash meets an equally obsessed Daring Do fan by the name of Quibble Pants, and the two seems to hit it off until Rainbow Dash finds out that he never liked anything past the original trilogy. Okay, I'm just gonna play this clip. Tell me I'm not the only one who sees this message, right?
Yeah, it's your typical newer is better fan versus your smarter and overly critical fan story, where both like the same show, but have different viewpoints on certain aspects of it to the point to where they begin to argue over every little detail presented by one another, which is actually quite common in most, if not all, fandoms. And this episode does a pretty good job showing both the start of the problem and how it's able to continue throughout the convention.
It doesn't do just a good job, it does a fantastic job! You see, when I first heard of the episode, I really was worried of how they will take this because they could have easily been the insult of fans who either enjoy the new stuff or hate it. It could have been a lot worse, but thankfully the writers didn't do that. Instead, it gives us a conflict that not only shows the two sides working off of each other, they also show that both sides can be right in their own way. It's not one-sided, and thank goodness for that, because this helps the episode that both sides are in the wrongs and rights, and both can help in their own unique ways of opinions.
After storming off, we find out that Daring Do is attending the convention to blend in with the cosplayers. Unfortunately, the convention is also the perfect place for Caballeron to go undetected as well, since we see that no one notices the difference between a cosplayer and the real thing. All except for Rainbow Dash, that is, but that's mostly due to their last encounter.
This can be really funny, seeing the villain and hero wandering around the convention with all the cosplayers running around. It's here that we get to see a lot of little backdrops of fan service. Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series is here! Oh, and there's an Aoizuo cosplayer over there! Oh, and oh. Well, I would make a joke on this, but considering knowing the full details of that pillow, I should not be the one to judge.
What, am I missing something? It's just a pillow with Daring Do on it. What's funny about that?
Oh my.
Oh, no way. You have got to be kidding me.
You obviously have not been in the anime fandom long enough to know that this is a pretty common thing over there.
And people say our fandom is strange. After another encounter with Quibble Pants, the two are captured, quite easily I might add, by Caballeron and his gang, but luckily they're able to escape due to Quibble Pants doubting the seriousness of their situation, which to be honest is kind of hilarious since we get to see him put himself in life or death situations due to his own stubbornness.
Okay, this I do have an issue with. I think Quibble should have at least figured out that something is off here regardless of his stance. It kind of makes him look a little stupid and stubborn. This part right here almost put me off because I thought it was gonna go with, Rainbow is right, screw Quibble! Thankfully, that didn't happen, but still, Quibble should have known by this point, and while his realization is funny, I guess, it's almost at the expense of the story just a little bit.
So after getting recaptured, the two find themselves in an even bigger predicament when they enter a pretty well-designed temple and are then attacked by what I'm assuming is an ancient alligator hybrid due to Quibble's tendency to nitpick everything that goes on around him, which again is still pretty hilarious to watch. Especially when he finally realizes that everything that's happened to them is real, including the rescue by Daring Do, which is made even funnier from Rainbow Dash's perspective. Seriously, she makes the best facial expressions in the show.
I am liking how they balance the slice of life aspect with the adventures that MOP has taken from the early seasons. To give a good comparison, this episode sort of feels like the sister episode to Dragonshy, where it has a character-focused message and an adventure to take on. It really feels that natural, and not to mention this is where Quibble Pants starts to show the best aspects of this episode. Being the picky pony that he is, he actually gives help on Daring's adventure. Usually when it comes to characters like him, they are only mostly used as the butt of old jokes. But here, his high taste and viewpoints gives in some helpful tips. Why can't many of these characters from the other show do that? This is a trope done right.
What I like about this particular scene is how it not only pokes fun at itself with comments reflecting most of the inaccuracies and over-the-top moments from Daring Do's books, but also how it does it in a way that doesn't feel forced while still being relevant to the plot, since it helps them come up with a way out of the temple by using the same method that the two encountered during their escape.
I definitely agree there. Once they got out of the situation, it comes to a very satisfying conclusion, which also helps the moral of the story. No matter what your opinion is on whatever stuff you two are invested in, at the end of the day, both parties are into the same thing, just for different viewpoints. This lesson really hits home to MOP because let's face it, it's been a debate of whether the show is not as good as it used to be, or has the show just been improving as it goes on. Many people, or in this case ponies, have their own taste and opinions on what the show is, and while I do get a bit annoyed by it, I won't deny that they have the right to do so. At the end of the day, it's their opinion, and Rainbow Dash is basically the fandom newcomer or loyal followers of the product that they will love and will defend it in its honor. But as he hangs out with Quibble, she starts to understand that there can be different types of fans, and that is okay. I think this lesson could also hit home with the reviewing community and its commentators in general. We are just people stating our opinions and not facts. Even I had to learn this.
Well said, Animate. It's very important for people to take in both sides of any argument, regardless of whether or not you agree with some of the points that are presented, because honestly, not everyone is gonna have the same opinion as you, which is why it's just as important that both sides talk to one another about their views and opinions on certain topics, so that both parties can understand why the other thinks the way they do about that topic. Only when you take in both sides of a coin does an argument have value.
So, final thoughts?
Honestly, this episode was a great way to start off the rest of the season. In addition to the great art design and action sequences, the episode also had a pretty interesting story that was both well-paced and very entertaining. The moral I thought was outstanding and is one that I'm sure many fandoms can relate to. Not only did I like how the episode managed to present both arguments in an unbiased manner, but how it also managed to give both sides an equal opportunity to tackle each situation through a different perspective without requiring either side to change their opinion afterwards. Daring Do and Rainbow Dash were both fun and enjoyable to watch together, but the character dynamic that I really liked and hope to see again in the future is the one between Quibble Pants and Rainbow Dash. Seriously, a character that has a realistic and unique view on the world would make for some pretty interesting episode ideas, not to mention that it would add so much fuel to the Rainbow Dash shipping fanfics.
This episode became a lot better than what I expected. It gives both sides respect, and it became one of the most funniest episodes that I have ever seen. Not to mention that the moral will be timeless, as this is something that many fandoms need to learn. To give a rating from my scoreboard, it will be around a 28 out of 30. It almost reached perfection if it wasn't for Quibble Pants' obliviousness in the middle part.
And with that said, this episode was an adventure worth raving about. Thanks for letting me do this review with you, Animate.
No problem, Blue Rave. I'm glad I could convince you into coming out of your episode hiatus.
Yeah, convince. Now, would you be so kind as to tell me what our current location is so I could get back to my channel?
Oh sure, but first, turn around just for a sec.
Okay. But for what exactly? Ow. Okay, was that really necessary?
It was, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
This is Mark, aka the Wolf Pony here, and I hope the next day will be even better.
And I'm Blue Rave, aka the Raving Lunatic, and I'll catch you later.
See ya!
Behind this brand identity, why must I make my life some sort of novelty? You call my story some silly child's play. Dare me to drop this shouting masquerade. I can wear my feet on my sleeve.